I'm JD. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe, please hit like, and let's get on with this video. So what I have here is a Pearl watch cleaning machine. Supreme, it says here. So, and it'll do North American voltage as well as European voltage. It's made in India, so don't be fooled here. This is an Indian made machine. And this machine has got a few features here. The first feature is it's got a very powerful motor here that spins this, and you'll see this in a second. As well, it's got a timer. Let me spin this around. It's got a timer here that you can set. Let me set this for now. And that's a mechanical timer, but it engages the actual electronics of the machine. So it has a timer. It has forward and reverse for the motor. It has a heater, which engages this can here. And on the bottom of this can, there's a heating pad that heats up nicely. And it also has a the motor on and off switch. And the heater on and off there's an indicator for the on and off here. Then it has I'll say it's a voltage regulator, and that's for spinning the motor. So when you turn the motor on like that, you'll see that the motor actually spins freely like that. So that's the feature. So what you do here, you've got three jars. You've got the washing jar and you've got two rinsing jars. And the specific chemicals you use for this, grab this chemical here. This is the Zenith Final Rinse. So this is the rinsing. Dries bright. Yeah, I guess that's a kind of cool name. Combustible liquid, so keep this in a safe place, but this is a final rinse. That's the Zenith Final Rinse. These are not cheap, by the way, at all. And this is the waterless cleaning fluid. This is also used, this is the first jar here is the Zenith. Is that Zenith? No, it's Zenith waterless cleaning fluid. There it is there. So that's what I use for cleaning watches. So first thing you do with this is you've got to take the basket. This unit here comes with two full baskets, and you have to attach the basket to the bottom here. And this is what the rig looks like down here. So you just take the basket and line the tabs up. I always make sure that in general everything is kind of sealed down, and I've done a few videos on how to prepare the baskets. So you do that, hold it from the bottom like this, and then push down like that, and then turn like this, and that locks this in place. And then you have to rotate this all the way around to get to the first jar. And you take off the lid on the first jar like this. And normally you should have a mask on for this. I'm not wearing one right now. And you're going to submerge this into the liquid all the way down. It's a little bit difficult to press this down. So, and that submerges it all the way into the liquid like that. And then I typically use a cloth of some sort to grab this to tighten it. To tighten it, you're turning this counterclockwise like this. You do this. Sorry for the, like that. So I'm turning that, and that locks it. There's a metal tab in there, and this is a cam here that locks this metal bar onto this tab like this. So, and I'll set the wash cycle for maybe 10 minutes here, and I put it on forward. I don't really flip it to forward and reverse, and then I'll make sure this is in the liquid all the way, and I'll just start washing the wash parts. There we go. So it's spinning away and it's washing now, and then we'll cut away for the rinse cycle. All right, now that we finished the first cycle of the clean, you just pull the wheel up here, get the parts out of the container here, and then you're going to spin dry them. So again, you got to set the timer in order for the electronics to work. So let's just set it to some arbitrary number, and then you just want to spin dry them to get the cleaning fluid off of out of the container. So it's just a simple spin dry. This thing is very touchy, by the way. So I put a little dot on there so I could tell where it needs to be, but it spins up pretty fast, very easily. So I think this would go to 1,000,000 RPMs pretty quickly. So you just have to spin dry it like that, and then you're good to switch it to the rinse can. After you've done a little bit of a spin dry here before it goes totally nuts, I'm going to turn this off to be safe, and I'll lift this. I'm going to use this to turn this little wheel here. It's difficult to lock and turn, by the way. It's not easy. I find it difficult anyway. So now to pull this up like this, and it's got to go all the way up to the top to rotate. Then I'll put the lid back on the jar like that, tighten that up, and then I'll open the first rinse jar. Right, and the liquid in the first rinse jar is a little bit darker now because it's the first rinse, and you cannot turn this until, you cannot lower this until it's aligned properly. Once it's aligned properly, it will lower, and again, you're lowering it all the way here like this. Try to get it snug down if you can, and I use this cloth here, turn this counterclockwise to lock it. You got to make sure that you don't get any oil in here at all, because that oil will cause friction, or it'll cause less friction, which will allow this thing to go nuts again. So I get it in the first rinse jar, then I turn the timer down. It's around this much time, but after I get this spinning in the first rinse jar, and there it goes. And if the friction from the water does slow this down a lot more when it's doing free spin, then I will turn the heater on, and that starts heating up this bucket, which is necessary for the final phase. Okay, now we're going to lower it into the final rinse phase, and I didn't show you the spin cycle of the other one, but you're going to see me lower this like this. I get it down to the right nice seal on there, and then turn this. I find again the cloth here helps a bit with the grip on this. If you see, even now it wants to go up, which is not good. So even turning that counterclockwise again, it wants to ride up, which is not good. And I want this thing to stay down. There are people that have removed the spring on this machine, because it's this very powerful spring that wants to pop it up, and I wouldn't want that to happen when you're trying to clean a watch. But there we go. We'll lower it like this, and then I'll just move the camera a little bit here so you can see. So we lower it like that, and then again turn the motors on. The timer is set. Let's give that a good rinse on the timer, and let me see if I can turn this on and get this going again. And there it goes. It's spinning away, and this should get a good rinse on that. And again, finish the last rinse on here. Gave it about a little bit over 10 minutes here, and I just slow that down to nothing. Pull that up like this, and now I've got to let this spin out to get rid of all the excess liquid that's part of this. And you can spin it out pretty fast. Again, this rheostat here, or variable resistor here, is kind of crappy. It's very touchy. Never sure how much to hold it. Once this thing starts going, it goes like crazy. So I just make sure I've spun it out enough to get rid of everything. I have a weight on the bottom, right down there too, because there can be rattling going on. So you put a weight down here, and that ensures that everything is kind of stable as you're doing this. And now the last phase of this operation. Again, I use a cloth here to help me loosen this and bring it up like this. It is a very heavy spring in here. I may remove that spring or do something about it. Now I want to lower this into the heat bucket and keep an eye on how far down it goes. And I want to be able to spin this just a bit, and I'll just show you what I mean here by that. So let me just clamp it right here for a second, and I want to spin it probably at this speed here, like that, because all I'm doing is heating the parts up here to get rid of the rest of the moisture from the rinsing cycle. So I just want to do that. So what I'll do is I'll just turn this off for now. And I keep an eye on this part right up here because this lets me know how fast it's going. And again, I want to protect my hand. You can wear a glove to do this, I'm sure, or if you've got the grip of Hercules, you can use that. I used to have the grip of Hercules when I was younger, maybe, but not anymore. So I'm a musician, so I don't want to hurt my hands here. So I grab that, and then I just turn that like that, and that's pretty good there. And then I lower it to the bottom like this, and then pull it up a bit. Pull it up about 1 inch like that. And then I can set this for heating, and I can turn the dial again, and I'll watch the top of this like that, because there's no need for this to be spinning out of control. And I did put those dots in there for this final phase to spin it slowly. So that's the slow spin, and there's one more thing you got to do. All right, now that we've finished the last stage of heating, I turn the heater off now, and then I'm gonna pull this up a bit like that, and I'm just gonna spin it freely so that it cools off for the touch, to the touch. I watched that there, it was already in the spinning situation there. So I want to spin this just a bit freely so it just cools the parts off a bit. I can probably lift this up a little bit higher like that, and that way there's a little less friction maybe. So I just want to air dry this, I think, is the last step. That way I can actually hold the thing because it's pretty hot on the bottom. So I just let this go in the air for a little while. And after I've done that, I'm going to disengage the basket, and then the job is completed. So that'll be it. And just while you're watching this spin here, let me just turn that up a little bit. I did some buffing on the case. See, this is very touchy. I would love to be able to replace this rheostat here. But I did some buffing on the case. Let me put this on here before I breathe this in. Like that. There's cork on the inside of these things here to help you. But I did some buffing in the case. I just want to show you the results, the early results, I'll say, because I still need to do a bit more buffing. But there you go. Those are the early results on the case for this watch. This was a pretty dastardly looking case before. Now it's looking pretty good. I just have to do a little bit more polishing on it. And then it's good. That and the bezel as well. So it's going to look pretty good at the end of the day, right? Put that on the cloth. And let me see if that's cool enough yet. Right. Well, let's see. Let's just pretend that's cool enough. Turn off the motor. Turn the heaters off. This just will power down on its own, so you don't have to worry about that. Let me grab this and see if it's still hot. Yeah, it's still a bit hot, but I'll use my cloth here on the bottom to remove this. And just need to pull it down a bit and then push up like that, and then rotate like this. Hang on. Which way should I rotate here? Like that. And then the basket will disengage like this. And there we've got the final result. And this is the all the watch parts in there nice and clean. It's not too hot right now, so I can get that, be able to hold it like this, and my wife will call me wimpy. So that's it. So that's the Pearl watch cleaning machine. I hope you enjoyed this video. One more note, I always put the watch parts in a box like that. That way when I walk around, there's no chance of this dropping and me ruining something.